right, if you don't have this exact one, I would suggest that just go ahead and do this one and then try another one, because you can try as many, I think, as you want. Keep doing a randomization and it will keep your best score. So practice these quite a bit. Anyway, you got two artists right here, Nina and Rob. Whoops. And let me change my color. Make yard ornaments. They get $80 for each wooden ornament, and they make $64 for each wooden Santa Claus. On average, Nina must work 4 hours and Rob 2 hours to make a snowman. Nina must work 3 hours and Rob 4 hours to make a Santa Claus. Neither wants to make more, or wants to work more than 60 hours per week. Well, I would think not. That's horrible. Okay, anyway, if they made you this little table right here, if they don't make that, I made a simplified version, but I make one just like that. Now, right here, they say, write the objective function for maximizing income. So they use this little I to represent income. Sometimes you'll see a P there for profit, whatever. It says, let X represent the number of snowmen. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put that X as my snowmen and Y is the number of my Santas. So I'm going to make that my Y. Okay. So first of all, for my income, notice I get $80 for each snowman. So I write 2 bags, so I'm going to put it over here. So I know I'm going to write that as 80x. So whether I sell 0 or 10, I would multiply how much money I'm going to make plus the number of snowmen I sell. Okay? Plus, and I get 64 for my Santas. And they are Y. So that's how much money I will make. Now here it says Nina's time. So remember, it took Nina 4 hours to make every snowman. So I would write that as 4x. And it takes her 3 hours for every Santa. But she doesn't want to work any more than 60 hours. She'll work 60 hours, but no, it says neither wants to work more than. So they want to work like less than or equal to 60. Okay? Rob's time is going to be the same thing. Look right up here. I'll do this in green just so you can see it. He takes 2 hours. So, man, look, he's twice as fast. But a little slower on the Santas. But he doesn't want to work more than 60 either. Now, number of snowmen. Well, you can't make a negative number of snowmen. So this one would be X is greater than or equal to 0. You can't make a negative number of Santas. So this one's Y is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, then you would probably want to graph these. Now, you do not have to probably graph these, but a lot of people feel like it's easiest to see it. And I would at least do a quick sketch. And I didn't take a picture of that, but I do feel like they had you graphing it. I'm going to show you something real quick here that I want to make sure you understand. So here's a simple little coordinate axis. When you do this one, Y is greater than 0, I hope you realize everything that is just a Y, notice there's no X's on this, it is just a Y, those are horizontal lines, okay? So that, like for example, and I'm gonna have to back this up a little bit and clean it up. If I had the line Y equals 3, I would go up here to the Y axis to 3 and it would look like this, okay? That would be the line Y equals 3. Now, they didn't ask me that, and by the way, why I'm doing this, because the 0 is going to be weird. If this had like X equals 6, I don't know, you would go to the X axis. Notice there's no Y's, there's just X's, and you would come over here to X is 6, and it would be a vertical line, okay? So these two are always the easiest to graph. Now, I'm going to pause this just a minute and clean this up. Okay, so I'm going to show you, we've got this one. If you're going to graph that, Y is greater than or equal to 0, that actually lands right on top of the x-axis. If it's greater than, it's going to be above it. I don't want to shade with this pen because it gets messy in here. This line looks like this. So I just want to tell you the only two places, if the red line is everything above it, and the green line is everything to the right of it, we're only looking at stuff in this quadrant, okay? Because we're always looking for the intersection. So I'm telling you, if you have to graph, but you're going to want to graph these two lines. But you know what? You're looking to see where those two lines intersect, okay? Now, personally, I would find both the X and the Y intercept if I had to graph these two lines and then connect it. Do you remember how to find the X and Y intercept? You would let X be 0, So look at here. If x is 0, then divide both sides by 3. So you can see y is 20. Okay? So there's a point. If y is 0, I'm going to change it just a minute. This one's 0. Then divide both sides by 4. And what is that, 15? So you've got 2 points for this line, and you're going to go ahead and graph them. So the point 0, 20 looks like somewhere up here, doesn't it? And the point 15, 0, and I'll label it, looks like it's somewhere here. So I know I've got this line that looks right here. It wants it less than, so do a test point, but I can see now we're in this quadrant, or this section of the first quadrant, okay? Do that same thing. I'm so sorry, I don't know why I got a scratch in my throat. For this other one, I just think it's easiest to find the x and y intercept on these. So let's try it. If I want to find the x-intercept, I let y be 0. Well, if y is 0, divide both sides by 2, and I can see this is 30. So he's way over here somewhere. Okay, he's outside that quadrant, so I really don't even care. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to find the y-intercept, so I let x be 0. So if x is 0, divide both sides by 4, and I can see that's 15. 0, 15. Which is going to be where? Right here? Now he's inside it, so I really like that. So look, you have this line that looks like this. Ooh. So you're interested in this section here. Notice these two lines intersect right there. So I want to find where they intersect. So far, I've got this point, 15, 0. I've got this point right here, which is, what was that one? 0, 15. Oh, cool. Okay, now let's find where those two lines intersect, and we're going to have it. So I came over here to a clean screen. Over here, I found my 2 points of intersection already, but now I got to find where the other two lines intersect. You can do whatever method you want here. I am going to use the elimination method. Some people call it the addition method. So what I'm going to do here, since this is a 4, I would love it if this guy would be a negative 4. So I'm going to multiply this whole equation by a negative 2. So here's my first equation. And right below it, I'm going to take that second equation and I'm going to multiply everything by negative 2. So what does that give me? Negative 8y, negative 120. Notice when I do that and I add straight down, my x's are eliminated. Thus, I call it the elimination method. But I'm also adding, so call it the addition method. So then I add those together and I get what? Negative 60. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. So y equals a positive 12, right? Okay, so I know my y value is 12. Now, how do you find your x value? Pick either one of these and plug it in. So I'm just going to pick the first one. It doesn't matter. So y is 12, so I'll substitute that in there. So what do I have? 4x plus 36 equals 60. Subtract 36 from both sides. That gives me 4x equals, what, 24? I'm doing this like divide by 4, so x is 6. Okay, so look what I have. I have the point 612. Now, you want to find, if you wanted to find the max and the min, okay, I'm going to take, do you remember we had that equation for our profit? And just a minute, I'm going to clean this up again. Remember this lovely equation to find the income or the profit? Okay, you have these 3 points. And, you know, if I was just going to guess, because I was like on a time test, like the ACT and hurrying, I would guess this one right here anyway. I can't imagine, and by the way, sometimes it does work. This one was saying I would make 0 Santas, and this one's saying I'm going to make 0, what was the other thing we made? Snowmen. Okay, there you go. But I'm going to plug in each one and see which one gives me my maximum profit, or if it would ask you the minimum profit, then I would look, and we'll do that. So here I would take 80, and my x is 15. And here I would plug in 0 for y. And I would just plug that in your calculator. Here I'm going to plug in 0 for x, but I'm going to plug in 15 for y. And here I'm going to plug in 6 for x, and I'm going to plug in 12 for y. And then I'm going to grab my handy dandy calculator. Okay, yes, I went and grabbed my calculator. Who wants to do this mentally? But when I use this in my calculator, I don't even crunch that in. Who cares about that one? I mean, do it. That's fine. This one's 0. Who cares? I don't crunch that one in. But I get these values right here, and when I did this one, I got $1,248. So this would be my maximum profit. So what does that tell me? That means I want to make 6, what were these? Snowmen. And I want to make 12 Santas to maximize my income or my profit. And I made 1,248. My worst scenario, if for some reason they would ask you the minimum, I would do the exact same thing, but I would pick this guy because he's the smallest, okay? So that's how you do it. It's a lot of fun. I'm being facetious.